Welcome everyone. Today we will be studying about nomenclature of plants and animals. We will be studying about the different types of nomenclature, advantages of using the scientific name and disadvantages of using the common names. Let's proceed. At first, what is nomenclature? What does the term mean? So nomenclature is naming of living organism so that they are named by or they are given the same name all over the world so that they are easily recognizable all over the world with the same name. So, what are common names? Common names, they are the local names which are given to an organism by the people of the specific language in a particular region. Okay, they are named by different or they are given the different names by the people speaking different languages. Okay, it's not same all over the world. Say for example, the rose is called as gulab in Hindi, golab in Bangla and Rajapur in Tamil. So a Tamilian people may not know the meaning of gulab and golab because this is quite different. The dog which is called as kukur in Bangla, kutta in Hindi and kuttu in Gujarati and so on. So people from different languages may not know the meaning of the different names asked by different people. So there is a need of using the scientific name. So what are the advantages of common names? As you can see that since childhood we are using the common names only to denote a particular organism. We don't know the scientific name. These are mainly used by the scientist. Okay, they are given by the scientist and mainly used by the scientist. Okay, and the ones who are the biologists. Now, the common names are easy to pronounce. They are very short. Say, for example, cat or billy. They are the common names and they are very short. People are familiar to these names since they are child. Now, these common names are based on some features of the organisms. Say, for example, kawa. Kawa is a crow in Hindi and kawa makes cow cow sound. Since kawa makes cow cow sound, they have been named as kawa. So it is very easy to remember the common names. Coming to the disadvantages of common names, all the organisms cannot be named by this method because there are some microbes also which are not visible to the naked eye and they are of different sizes and shapes. Okay, as for example, insects, we cannot name each and every insect by using the common name. There has to have the scientific name for the organisms which cannot be named by the common names. Okay, so, scientific name can be given to all the organisms in the world, but common name cannot be. Okay. Now, an organism can have several names in a given language. Say, for example, there are 8 Hindi names for prickly poppy, which is a plant, and water lily has around 15 English names. So, it is very difficult for the scientists to remember the common names. Okay, so scientific name is necessary. Now, a common name may have different meanings in different countries. Say, for example, maize, it means wheat, and other grains are called by the name of maize in USA, but it is called as corn in Commonwealth countries. Okay. Another disadvantages of common names are that they have very little relevance. Lady's finger has nothing to do, like for okra. Okra has nothing to do with lady's finger. Tradescantia arroyo has nothing to do with widow's tears. So the name is irrelevant or little relevant. Now the common names can be incorrect. For example, jellyfish, starfish, silverfish, they are not actually fishes. Still, they have given the name fish. These names are not useful for scientific studies. Coming to the understanding of scientific names, they are given by the biologist and they are recognizable in every part of the world. Now, the system of giving names to any organism is known as binomial nomenclature. Now, we have to keep some points in mind when we are talking about scientific names, that they are acceptable in every part of the world and they are assigned on agreed principles and criteria. There has to be criteria and system of classification which has to be followed by while giving the scientific name. Okay, so every part of the world must accept that name. Okay, different for each species and not to be used for other organisms earlier. The name which is given, the scientific name which is given, will be new and universal. It shouldn't be repeated. Coming to in detail about binomial nomenclature, it was developed by Carolus Linnaeus in the year 1751 in his book Philosophica Botanica. Okay, all the scientific names for animals are given in the book Cisterna Naturae in 1758, and all the scientific names for plants are given in Species Plantarum, which was published in 1753. So for animals, the book is Cisterna Naturae, and for plants, the book is Species Plantarum. Now, very important topic, that is bi means two. So two names are there in binomial nomenclature system. Okay, if I write the scientific name of mango, which is Mangifera indica. Okay, this is a scientific name of mango. Like for example, we have a name and surname same. Similarly, the scientific name also have the name with two words. The first word is a generic name or genus. The second one is a specific epithet. The second one is a specific epithet, or we can say that it is a name of the species. As you can notice here that the first letter of the genus is written with the capital letter and the first letter of species is written with the small letter. And remember, we always need to underline the scientific name. Okay, when we write it with our hands, we need to underline the scientific name. So these are some rules which we need to follow while writing the scientific name. Now you can see here, these are the scientific names of few organisms. You can see that they are written in italics. Okay, so when we write it on a paper and that has to be printed, the name, the scientific name, when we write it in our computer, okay, when we write it in our word file or anywhere, we write it in the italics. Okay, now there are different types of nomenclature. One which we have studied is the binomial nomenclature, another are polynomial nomenclature and trinomial nomenclature. So let's see one by one. So we already discussed that Carolus Linnaeus is the one who founded or developed binomial nomenclature. Coming to the first type of nomenclature, which is known as polynomial system or polynomial nomenclature. According to this system, a plant consists of many words. The name of the plant consists of many words. Say for example, Caryophyllum is a plant. According to polynomial system, it has these many names: Caryophyllum, Saxatilis, Follis, Gramineus, Umbellatus, Corymbus. Okay, this is polynomial system. Now, binomial system, we already discussed that this is a method of nomenclature where two names are given to an organism. One is generic name, that is the name of genus. The second is species epithet or specific epithet, which is the name of the species. Okay. The third is trinomial nomenclature. Here, this was first proposed by Huxley and Strickland. Now, according to trinomial, tri means three. According to trinomial nomenclature, there are three names of an organism. What are the three names? One is generic, one is specific, another is subspecific name, which is the name of the variety. So if any plant species have many varieties, then trinomial nomenclature is used. Say for example, Brassica oleracea has several varieties. If the variety is botrytis, the name is cauliflower. If the variety is capitata, the name is cabbage. If the variety is coloropa, the name is col. Now there are few rules of binomial nomenclature. They are written in different books, and the rules are written in the books of International Code for Botanical Nomenclature (ICBN). For zoological nomenclature, ICZN for animals. Zoological is for animals, botanical is for plants. If we need to follow about bacteria, it's about written in bacteriological nomenclature. For viral, it's ICVN, and for cultivated plants is ICNCP. Okay. Now we need to study about the main rules of ICBN. Okay. The main rules of ICBN is that the first we need to know about the word tautonym. So what is tautonym? Tautonym is when the genus and species name are same. Name are same. Okay, this tautonym is not true for plants. This tautonym is not true for plants, not for plants. They are not used for plants, but they can be used for plants. They are valid for animals. Okay, not for plants. So you can see that in International Code for Zoological Nomenclature, the scientific name of Indian cobra is Naja naja. So you can see that the genus name and species name are same, and this is known as tautonym. And remember that tautonym can be followed only for animals. Another rule is that the generic name should be, this will be named, that the generic name or the specific name should not be less than 3 letters, and they should not be more than 12 letters. So minimum is 3 letters and maximum is 12 letters, be it generic name, be it specific name. Now this one I have already discussed with you, that the first letter of the generic name should be capital in letter, and the first letter of specific name should be in small letter. For example, Mangifera indica. Okay, but if specific name is based on the name of some person, its first letter should be in capital letter. So then the first letter, here this O is not there. So then the first letter should be written in the capital letter. Okay. So if this is from the name of the person, then the first letter is from the capital letter. So when written with freehand or type, then the generic name and the specific name should be separately underlined. But during printing, they should be italicized. These are the rules of ICBN. Now, another rule, that the name of the scientist should be written in short after the specific name. As you can see that Linnaeus was the one who developed the name, who developed the scientific name of mango. So, the name of the scientist is written in short after the specific name. For Linnaeus, it is written as Lin. Now, this name of the scientist will neither be underlined nor written in italics, but they are written in Times New Roman. Okay, they are written in simple alphabets. If any scientist has proposed the wrong name, then his name should be written in bracket. As you can see in this example, Fuga canadensis. This was given by Linnaeus, as Linnaeus told that this plant is should be named as Pinus canadensis. But Linnaeus gave this as a wrong name. Linnaeus told that it is Pinus, but it is actually Fuga. So the name of the scientist who named it wrongly will be written in bracket. And the scientist who corrected the name should be written after the bracket. So Salisbury corrected the name. So they are written after the bracket. Now, no names are recognized prior to those used by Linnaeus in 1753. So I told you that Linnaeus gave the scientific names to all the plants, and the book was released in 1753. Okay, so whatever the scientific names given before 1753 to the plants, they are not recognized. Okay, and for in 70 before 1758, whatever names have been given to animals, they are not recognized. So after that only, after 1758, whatever names have been given for the animals are recognized, and after 1753 whatever names are given to the plants are recognized. And the scientific names should be derived from Latin or Greek languages, because they are known as the dead languages. Now, the newly discovered plant specimen, they are preserved or placed in herbarium, which is known as dry garden. So I will teach you herbarium in detail in my next video. The standard size of the herbarium is 11.5 to 16.5 inches. The herbarium is actually a cardboard sized paper. The cardboard material paper. Okay. Now, so we need to know about some advantages of binomial nomenclature. They have lot of advantages, that they are universally acceptable and recognized. They are same in all languages, so they are recognizable all over the world. The name is small and comprehensive for the scientist. According to the binomial nomenclature, or as we compare it with the trinomial and polynomial nomenclature, the binomial name is very small and comprehensive. Okay, now there is a mechanism to provide the scientific name to every newly discovered organism. Okay, there has to be a mechanism, like in which group it has to be placed, in which phylum will it to the new organism will belong, to which kingdom the new organism will belong based on the similar characteristics. Okay, and the similar characteristics, so the mechanism has to be followed. Okay, the names indicate relationship of a species with other species present in the same genus. Okay, if we now genus means what? If they are placed in a particular genus, so if I give you one example about brinjal and potato, brinjal and potato, they both belong to the genus Solanum. So we can say that there is a similarity between tomato and brinjal. That's why they have been placed in the genus Solanum. But the specific epithet is different because they have some dissimilar characteristics as well. Okay. Now, a new organism can be easily provided with a new scientific name when they follow these mechanisms. So here the topic is complete. If you this video have helped you, then please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more videos, and share and help your friends. See you again.